so I'm never gonna look at Doctor Who the same again. What a dick. Last Night in Soho is brought to us by director Edgar Wright and stars Anna Taylor-Joy, Thomasin McKenzie, and Matt Smith. So Last Night in Soho is Edgar Wright's first stab at true horror. Up to this point, he's been better known for his comedies such as Shaun of the Dead, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and Baby Driver. I mean, I guess Baby Driver wasn't really a comedy, but it definitely had comedic elements to it. This time though, we got a lot less comedy, and by a lot less, I mean none. This is straight up thriller horror, and make no mistake, there are some legit horror scenes in this film. I'd say it's more thriller than horror for the most part, and it has a very Hitchcockian vibe running through the entire thing. Basically, we follow Thomasin McKenzie's Eloise, who is a young girl who just got accepted to a fashion school in London. Eloise is infatuated with 60s London culture, and she has been wanting to go there her entire life. However, once she arrives, she finds that not everything is exactly how she envisioned it. She starts having dreams or visions of this woman named Sandy back in the 60s. And at first, it's all good. She's really liking these dreams, seeing this woman go around this time period that she is in love with. But of course, being a horror thriller, things take a turn for the worse. Eloise's family has a history of mental health issues, so when she starts seeing these things, she, or us the audience, isn't really sure if what she's seeing is real, like the paranormal, or if this chick's just batshit fucking crazy, and possibly a bit of both. Overall, this movie has a pretty good story that does keep you guessing all the way to the end. Now, there are a couple of surprises that pop up that I did kind of guess before their big reveal, but overall it was still a really good entertaining time, and I wasn't able to place exactly what was going to happen as it was happening. Now, the movie did get a little bit messy there in the middle portion of the film and lose my interest just for a couple of minutes, but it does quickly recover in time for the end. Now, about that ending, it's a shock, and you just don't see it coming. You know something's coming, you know something's up, but you'd never guess that it's that, and I kind of liked it. The end of this movie is pretty neat. Now, that being said, there are some aspects of the end of this movie that did seem just a bit out of place, but overall, I still did enjoy it. The movie runs at just under 2 hours long, but it, for some reason, just felt a lot longer. I didn't dislike the film, but there were some parts, as I mentioned earlier, especially in the middle portion, that were just a bit drawn out. The movie just felt really long. I don't think it needed much, but I do think that the narrative could have used just a bit of tightening to move things along a bit more fluidly. Overall, though, I did enjoy the narrative of this film, and it is definitely different from anything that Wright has done before in the past. Now, with this cast, it should come as no surprise that there are some pretty great performances here. Anna Taylor-Joy is the bigger name on the marquee, and she is great, but Thomasin McKenzie, this is her movie. She does a fantastic job, and seeing her transformation throughout the film is just really awesome. Matt Smith is pretty great here as well, but man, what a dick. I don't mean in real life, he's probably a really nice guy in real life, and I loved him as Doctor Who, second only to David Tennant, but he is such a scuzzball in this movie, you just love to hate him. Man, this guy is a fucking prick. I wanted to go through the screen and punch him in the fucking dick myself, which I guess that means he did a pretty good job because his character is supposed to be pretty deplorable. Terrence Zod Stamp shows up for a bit as well, and per usual, he's great. I don't think this guy could turn in a bad performance in a role if he tried. These are just great performances all around, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see some of these actors at the Academy Awards this year. Now, per pretty much all of Edgar Wright's movies, this movie looks fantastic. It's very Edgar Wright. The shot composition, the camera work, everything here just looks really good and interesting. But the thing that I took note of the most was the editing. This editing in this movie is world class. Now, I know editing is not something that we typically notice unless it's like really bad, like Resident Evil, the final chapter. And no, I'm not gonna stop going on and on about how terrible that fucking movie is. But here, the editing, along with the camera work, truly does tell a story. This is a masterclass in editing, and if you don't notice editing often in movies, watch this movie and you'll know what I'm talking about. It just looks great. Guys, Last Night in Soho is one of those movies that needs to sit with you a bit. Walking out of the theater, I didn't didn't 100% know how I felt about the movie, but after I sat there and let it marinate for a bit, I came to the conclusion that I really like this movie. Is it perfect? No, it does have its issues, especially in the middle portion of the film, and the end, while I did enjoy it, it does at times feel a little out of place. But Wright nails an original thriller horror tone, it has great performances, the movie looks fantastic, and the story is overall interesting. And while I can't say that you need to run out and see this thing in theaters right away, it is absolutely worth a rent.
All he wanted was this.
I have to return some videotape.
If you're a fan of Edgar Wright and you want an original take on horror, then check out Last Night in Soho one night, and I think you're gonna have a pretty good time with it. So there it is, guys, my review of Last Night in Soho. Like last night, not like last night, I think. If you enjoyed and want more content like this, hit that subscribe button and help my little channel grow. If you want to help out the channel, check out my Patreon in the description below, become a jarhead and get some of the awesome benefits that go along with that, like these guys, and possibly join my top tier and become a bad motherfucker like my man Greg. If you liked what I had to say, give me a like. If not, let me know in the comments below why. And as always, stay sexy, Soho!
You can't save me.
Okay, so at this point, Edgar Wright has worldwide critical acclaim, and I'm pretty sure that this movie is going to do well, at least with the credits. So can we finally, please for the love of God, get the sequel to one of his greatest movies ever made? Scott Pilgrim versus the World. It would be an epic of epic epicness again. We are Sex Bomb!